This is a little teaching tool for Pebbles. I want you to see that there's many layers, basically. Shadow helps, and you can see the shadow actually helps lift this white area right off the paper. Then the shadow on the stone or the pebble, the volume, by putting it lighter at the top and darker at the bottom, that adds. And then texture. So the texture also helps. And in these ones, in this one, I've done the shadow, the volume, and then the texture. And in this one, it was the texture, then the shadow, and then, then the volume, and then the shadow underneath. So you can see that the stones look slightly different. So this one's a bit softer because of the way the salt has dried. And let me just focus that a bit better if I can. No, I guess that's what we're going to get. But you can see that it's a little bit softer. It's not as soft as it looks like in the picture, but it is a bit softer. So it's just something to think about. So when we're working with volume and shadow, it's a good thing to not pass judgment until you've done all three steps. So for instance, this one with just the texture doesn't look very pebble-like, but when we add volume and shadow, then it helps it move into the more pebble-like look. In this example, I've done the volume and the shadow in all of the ones up top here, and just done it monochromatically. And so you can do this just monochromatically, and it is a good exercise to do. So in this one, there's two layers of paint. One was the pale paint, and then another darker to create the white stripe. This one had spots put on first, and then the white, or the volume, was put on top. This one had the volume put on, and then it was salted. And these ones are just plain with a little bit of volume on them and the shadows underneath. So that's just one way of going to it. And then down here, after I did a similar one, very similar to that, down here, I put a brown wash over top of this one. There's a pale green, very pale green wash over top of this one. This has a red wash and another layer of salt. This has a green wash. This has a brown wash and some use of the skewer, which is this tool here where I just scratched the surface. And on this one, I had two stripes drawn on and then a pale yellowish wash over top. So I just want to be clear to you that because watercolor is so transparent, we can basically go from either direction. So if you really are just so fascinated by the textures that you have to start there, absolutely, start with the textures and then put the volume on after. Because you will notice that if you forget to put the volume on, the rocks are going to look like little discs of paint. And then you'll think, forgot to put the volume on then. And the shadows underneath really do help them lift them off the paper and give them that look of volume. Here's a painting of some pebbles and barnacles, and this one was done completely monochromatically with just one mixed gray, and then I decided it was finished. I didn't add any color to it, and so I quite like it, even just the way it is. And here's another one that was done with color, and the volume being put on separately. And as you improve your skills, the volume can be put on at the same time, and you can often use the color to put the volume on. These are demonstration pieces, so I haven't done that with these. But it certainly can be done. Oh, maybe on this one. Looks like I finished it after class, because here I haven't used the shadow color to create the volume. I've just put a little color down in here. And so as you find your skill is improving, you just make up your own rules.